you're saying that Orpheus's journey with his wife out of the underworld is like a death, and you have to kind of, yeah, going into any type of transformation or death, which is the ultimate kind of transformation for us that we're afraid of and that we probably make a lot of mistakes because of that fear as a civilization or as a person. If you can, yeah, let go and have faith that this is the natural process. And I think the invoking of nature brings Dionysus back into the picture, back into the story, whereas Orpheus had pushed him away. Um, yeah, leads to that transformation and that new birth.
Yeah, certainly did not have all of this in mind when I first read these, but I knew there was a thread there to follow. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think we can, I was mapping it a minute ago onto civilizations, whether it's the Greeks or whether it's our current culture, the meaning crisis, whatever it is, the meaning crisis, we're too much in our head. We need to let that life force come back up and generate a new meaning.
Mm,
We have to let the old meaning die while holding on to the faith that meaning is possible
mm.
and that the spirit of meaning is not encapsulated by the old ways, that the old ways can die and we can still have something new on the other side that we can sort of place our faith in. But I also think that this is sort of our challenges humans like every day, to not be stuck in, well, I already know how this is going to turn out.
Yeah.
I don't need to try. I mean, me right now, just to kind of map this onto something personal, like I'm doing my newsletter. I'm struggling to get my writing and my sort of guidance work out into the world so I can work with people. Um, and like this is something I've been thinking about doing. It's a dream I've been following for 5 or 6 years, if not longer. I mean, it's a little hard to say where it starts at, but this latest iteration of it, like I was planning this newsletter for years before I finally started it, and man, like so when COVID hit, my wife and I were running a guest house business. We had a big home we were renting, and we had people come and stay in different rooms, and they'd come and they'd stay. And so we had like 3 or 4 listings on Airbnb, and we were doing well enough to pay a ridiculous rent for the house, and still that was our whole income. Lovely life. Um, COVID hit and the whole thing died. I was terrified. I had the closest thing to a nervous breakdown I think I've had in my life. I was also trying to quit smoking at the time because smoking in COVID, I thought maybe not the best thing to be doing. This is early COVID. We didn't know what the fuck, but it was a lung thing. And I was like, I need to quit smoking anyway. This is I can use this fear to make something healthy happen for me.
Mm.
But so, nicotine withdrawal and life falling apart and everything, it was a death and rebirth moment for me. And I could very easily have given up. I could have said, no, it has to be this house, turn back like, you know, uh, Orpheus does, tried to make it be what it had been before. I could have completely given up. I could have said, screw it. One of the options was to move with my wife's family in Florida or maybe with my family in California, which we were down to do, and everybody was very supportive if we had to. But I was like, no, I want to try and make something work here, where I've built a life, where we've built a life, we have friends, we have community, we love it here, we don't want to leave. So there's this like my whole life had fallen apart, but I wanted to have faith that it would resurrect itself. And I started working food delivery. Or I had been doing that already, but I started doing that full time, and it was enough to get us into the place we're living now. And I struggled along with that for a long time, a long time, a long time, and then um, was enough to get by, but wasn't enough to make anything really grow. So it felt very much like a stuck structure. I couldn't move, couldn't move. Um, the food delivery money, I don't know, they changed the algorithm, they changed how much they pay us, whatever it was, I stopped making as much money as I was making. It wasn't supporting us. My car died. The battery in my car died. So again, it was like a second death cycle. Um, and I could have been like, okay, this time we're getting out of the house, we're moving, we're just done. I'm done with all of this. Or I need to keep doing food delivery because that's all I know. And I didn't do either of those things. I was like, I need to find work. And I found work doing the AI training that I do now, this sort of remote work came out of nowhere. Didn't work, took a couple of false starts with it. I felt like I was trying to like start a gas stove where it just the lighter wouldn't click and it wouldn't click and it wouldn't click and then finally whoosh. And that worked for 6 to 10 months, maybe almost a year from the time I first got hired by them until the next disaster. And then I was working at this company, and all of a sudden the project I was on ended, and I had no income, and I had been supporting my wife and myself, and we had nothing. We had a little bit of savings, thankfully, so that sort of brought us through. But again, it was this moment of my whole life has died. What do I do? Do I keep trying to tear at this one AI company for work? Do I give up entirely? No and no. What do I do? How do I carry forward? Um, and I moved forward and I had faith that something would coalesce back around me. And my wife found a job. I found a job with another company. And it was in that very moment. In fact, I lost the job on a Saturday at 11 o'clock. Saturday. Wednesday night, I had decided to start a 3-day fast. Water fast, only water for 72 hours. Yes, 72 hours. So I had my last meal Wednesday night. Thursday, drank water, took it easy. I had to work, so I was still working, but it's all computer work. So I just lay on the couch and do the computer work. Um, Thursday goes by, I do pretty well. Friday goes by, I do really well. Saturday comes through. I might have my days off, but whatever. For the sake of the story, I'm just going to go with this structure. Saturday comes through. In the morning, I have this really transformative experience in therapy. I've been working with this guy, and something really kind of clicked in that moment. And I'm ready. Like the whole point of the fast, I forgot to say this part from the beginning. The whole point of the fast was like I had felt stuck with this newsletter. I had been planning it like the whole time I was doing the food delivery. I'm driving around, go to McDonald's. I'd wait at McDonald's. I'd have this idea. I should write this thing. I'd
Yeah.
type it down on my notes on my phone, but it never actually became anything. It was always just like notes on my phone, notes on my phone, notes on my phone. And I was finally like, I need to take a step. I need to like bring my energy together to do this. And so that was the intention of the fast was to sort of trim myself down and kind of just dedicate myself to making an effort in this way.
Mm.
And 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 so I have this pretty great experience in therapy. I'm feeling like this is great. This is the last day of the fast. I'm going to eat dinner tonight at 9 o'clock. It'll have been 72 hours from Wednesday night, whatever days those were. Um, I'm ready to go. I get off from therapy and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get into work for the next few hours, make some more money, get some work done, and then I'll have dinner tonight. As soon as I sign into work, I find out that the project is done unexpectedly, out of nowhere. We had thought it was going to expand. And it felt again like the one thing I had hinged my life on had fallen apart, had broken down, had died, and yet here I was ready to start my newsletter. Here I was ready to finally just rely on this money and start my new thing. And as I'm ready to start my new thing, the one thing I was relying on falls away. And as I'm sure you can guess, since I'm still working on my newsletter, I never gave up on that. I'm up to, I think, the 50th or 52nd post on it. And I have a different job. Like my wife got a job. I have a job. We're making more money now than we were when I was employed myself, just myself. Um, I don't want to say that every time, something could happen tomorrow. I could lose my job. My wife could lose her job. something tragic could happen and something good could not come of it. I don't know, but I have tried to hold that faith through every step of the process. And I have been through enough deaths and rebirths in the last 5 to 6 years that like there's a way you can go about it. Um, I don't know how to say what that way is. I don't think there's a formula to it, but you can read the stories and the stories give us hints. And I think that that's true. And if we can map that back onto the world for a minute, that's what I wish for the world, for our civilization. I want us to die and be reborn. I want us to continue on